Finding an apartment in Germany can feel almost impossible, especially someone like me that took centuries in order to get an apartment. On this video today, I will be giving you a guide, a step-by-step guide on how to get an apartment or a WG in Germany. Please stick around till the end because I will be covering how to get an apartment in Germany, how you're supposed to go about it, the type of rent that exists in Germany, types of apartment that exist, and how to get it, which documents are required, how to behave during Besichtigung, and of course, when you are finally granted a house contract, how you're supposed to go about. So please watch to the end to get to know all of this important information. And a disclaimer, I am not a makler. I am not a real estate agent. I am simply giving a general information on how to get an accommodation in Germany, most especially for us foreigners. If you're new in Germany or if you're a family and you look forward to doing an umzug, stick around till the end to get to know the step-by-step guide. Thank you. If you are new on this channel, thank you very much for stopping by. Please don't forget to subscribe. I am Emiliette here. I motivate, I inspire, and I entertain. And of course, I share my experience as a foreigner living in Germany. And that is why I'm making this video today. If you are my returning subscriber, you are my MVP. You know you are so special. So please, thank you very much. I am super grateful. So today on this video, I want us to talk about how to get an apartment in Germany. To begin with, I want us to talk about the type of rents that exist in Germany. If you are new in Germany and you're looking for an apartment, the very first thing you're supposed to bear in mind is in Germany, we have card meter and we have warm meter. What is card meter? Card meter is like the base rents that you have to pay for the accommodation. For example, card meter or code rent can be 400 euros, and we have van meter. Van meter now include heating, water, and building maintenance. So it includes utilities. That is just the difference. So at the end of the day, the van meter is the amount you have to pay on your landlord's account. So now, before you start looking for an apartment in Germany, it's very important that you understand that you don't just go on a website, you see the card meter and you're already excited. Try to understand the difference between the card meter and the van meter. At the end of the day, when they join the card meter to the van meter, how much does it cost? Then from there you will be able to know, and depending on your budget, you will be able to know on whether you want to take the apartment or not. So apart from the this type of rents that I just mentioned, of course, you're also supposed to know that there is always a caution that you're supposed to pay. They call it in German Kaution. You're also supposed to pay a security deposit to your landlord. It serves as a protection in case of unpaid utilities at the end of the house contract, as well as in case of damage. If there's any damage has ensued as a result of you staying in this house, so you have to pay this money. But if at the end of your rental contract, of course, if nothing happens, this money will be given back to you. So that was the type of rents that exist in Germany. Of course, there are other many types of rents that exist, but let's just limit ourselves to the van meter and the card meter. An apartment in bigger cities can really be hell. Like, it can really be hell. It took me centuries before I could get an apartment, and I even had to change my city because it was not easy. In bigger cities, to get an apartment is not easy. So depending on the type of apartment or the type of place you want to rent, it will determine how fast or how slow you're going to get an apartment. So it is important to note that word when it comes to Mietwohnungen. to tenancy houses. They are always shared apartment, shared flats, which in German is called Wohngemeinschaft, like it's like a WG. It is common for students and young professionals. There you can rent just one room, maybe about 15 quadrat-meter, and you have to share maybe the toilet, the kitchen, and so on and so forth. Or for a WG, it is super easy to get. Even in bigger cities, you can get it so easily. And then we have the normal standard apartment, of course, which is also a type of Mietwohnung that exists under types of apartment in Germany. So the normal Mietwohnung is usually for families, or either directly from the landlord, through a Genossenschaft, or through a housing company. So under types of apartment that it's common, like it's common. It doesn't mean that others don't exist. Universities that offer family apartments as well. So it depends on your city or where you find yourself. So it is good that you know that. So the next point I am about to move on is how to now find the apartment. You already have in mind what type of apartment or what type of a place do I want to rent. We already spoke about the type of rent, the VAM and the card meter, and I am just from talking about the shared flat and the apartment that you're supposed to rent. And now let's move on how to get either the shared flat or this apartment. So it is important to note that you can find an apartment on sites like Imo Scout 24, Immonet, but you have to register. Like in cities like Hamburg, you have to register with the Zaga as well. It's a housing company. And of course, you can search for apartment on eBay Kleinanzeiger. eBay Kleinanzeiger is my favorite app. I'm not doing an advert for them, but it is my favorite app because there you can look for an apartment or a flat. You can search for jobs and so on and so forth. You can also sell on eBay. So you can search for an apartment on WG Gezoek, as well as on Imovert, Even local newspapers, sometimes they also have Angebot. Of course, you can ask friends. You can, if you belong to maybe a church or an organization, you can ask them. They might also help. But the most popular websites in Germany where you can search or get an apartment is on Immonet, Immo Scout 24, and eBay Kleinanzeiger. So I wish you good luck, because looking for an apartment, you need to write series of Bewerbungen. Like you need to write to apply as if you're applying for a job, because it's no joke. Like it is no joke to get an apartment. And now, before we move to the types of before we move to the documents required, or the documents you have to put together while you are in search of your apartment at Bewerbung, it is important. I wish to mention this here because I have also made an experience with this. It is important that you should be very careful in the process of searching for your apartment online. I have encountered situations whereby some apartments will just pop up. It is furnished, it has everything there, and the people, like, they are just scammers. They start writing you and telling you, they notice that you're looking for a house, they have an apartment for you, can you send money so they can sign your contract, this and that. Never you send money to anybody. when you haven't seen the house, you haven't done any Besichtigung, or you haven't signed the house contract. Never you do that, because these people exist online a lot. So in the search of an apartment, be it an apartment or a flat, a VG, you should be very, very cautious online. So, which documents will you be needing now for your apartment search? Which documents do you need to put together? Mind you, the website I just mentioned, you are not just supposed to go there and start searching without you putting your documents together. You need to put all of these documents I'm about to mention together before you start going for a search. Mind you, it is highly competitive, so it is important that you put these documents together. As a foreigner, of course, the Germans too would do. So you'll be needing your what? You'll be needing your passport or resident permit. Of course, you'll also be needing your 3 months pay slip. Some landlords will ask for working contract, of course, and you need to do a tenant, you need to fill a tenant disclosure form, which is called Selbstauskunft document. Of course, you will also be needing your what? Your Schufa Auskunft, which will give information about your credit score. That is a super, super important document. So you do well to put all of these documents together. You snap them, like maybe you can snap them using maybe your cam scanner. You put everything together. Of course, you put everything as in everything together, so that, like, the way I usually do is I always have to snap everything and put it on a one PDF file, so that in the process of application I would just have to, just send a single file. So in addition to these documents I just mentioned, you are supposed to also put into writing an application itself, applying for either the apartment or for the shared vegan. So you're supposed to mention who you are, what you do, and of course, if you're a family person, how many people will be coming? Do you have house tier, and so on and so forth. So have all of these documents together, and always do well to check from which period will they be will they be giving out the apartment, because it is from it that you will also determine when to kundigung your own house. You don't want a situation whereby you will kundigung your house, you're a family person, you kundigung your house 1 month before you actually be getting your apartment. It doesn't work that way. Normally you should be cautious, like look at the date, from when to when are they offering this apartment. So it is very, very important to put that at the back of your mind. And of course, I am going to make a separate video for those that are underarmed on how to go about house search, like those that, because looking for a house, somehow the documents you're supposed to submit, sometimes it is often a little bit different based on your life situation at the point in time that you're searching for the apartment. For those that are on the job center, it is completely a different procedure, and it is somehow, it has a little bit of difference on the type of documents you're supposed to submit. So I am going to make an extra video pertaining to that. So now these were just the general information, and of course, if you are a student, more often than not they might ask for maybe your admission form or your house bid on contract. But some landlords, they are relaxed, they will not go ahead and be asked to put all these together. And yeah, if you're lucky. So what usually happens during viewing, which is in German is called the Besichtigung, if you are being invited after they must have evaluated your documents and they see that, oh, he or she can be a potential meter, they will invite you for Besichtigung. Most importantly, dress well, appear early, ask necessary questions, be polite, ask questions about utility, check the house well, and so on and so forth. And please always come early, because I've once been to a Besichtigung in Hamburg that we were about 15 of us. We had to stand on a long line. Like, it's no joke. House search in Hamburg is no joke. Like, you literally have to sell one of your kidney to get an apartment. Anyway, that was just a bit. And to add to that, before you even begin all of this search, putting your documents together and so on and so forth, it is important that you don't just rent an apartment. You don't just want to rent a flat or a VG. You are doing that maybe because you have a new job, you have a new, you're now a family person, this and that. If you are a family person, there should be some factors that are pushing you to go to a particular place or to rent at a particular place. How is the distance of the house from house? How is the distance from home to work, or home to your child's school, home to this? Most especially when you don't have a driver's license, you want to consider some of these factors, because you don't want to maybe go and be living in a small village where the bus comes just once in 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 an hour, or it comes after 30 minutes. You don't have a driver's license and so on. So it is super important that before you choose a house, you check the probability, you check the options. Of course, same with students and professionals. The good thing is that, at least for students, sometimes it's easy that you can get an apartment either from your uni or maybe just around, because really it's not hard to get a VK. It's not hard at all. So put that at the back. So of course, if you are the lucky meter or metering, you will be invited to sign your house contract. Then you have to do your first deposit, like I did mention already. You have to pay your caution. You have to pay. The good thing is that the caution can be paid depending on your agreement with the landlord. You can pay it in writing, and you pay your first rent, and so on and so forth. You collect your keys, and that's interesting, right? You give your bank verbindung for the monthly payment. This guide helps someone searching, or that is in search of a house. I am going to make a separate video for those that are under Amt and that are in search of an apartment, because it is a completely different procedure, the documents and so on and so forth. It is not that easy. So if you're watching this video because you're in search of an apartment, I wish you good luck. And please don't forget to subscribe for such tips like this. I'm a mom living in Germany, and I share my experience too on this channel. I also motivate, inspire, and entertain. Thank you very much, and auf Wiedersehen.